Hi, this is Jill from Fabric Garden in Sacramento, and today I wanted to talk to you about threading your hand sewing needles or hand embroidery needles. There are just times when we need help threading the needles, and that's where needle threaders come in. There's three basic types of needle threaders. There's sort of automatic, push the button and they'll thread the needles for you. There are needle threaders with little wires that you put through your needle and thread and pull back through. And then there are threaders that again you put through the eye of the needle and then just lay the thread over the top of them and pull it back through the needle. So I thought I'd show you how those work today. So let me start. I'm going to start with just the little ones where you lay it through. Get some thread here, and I've got to have glasses, sorry about that. So I'm going to work with a needle that has a small eye so that we're a little challenged. And I'm going to start with the type of threader. This is just a little cutesy Hummingbird Threader. There's also a flat one for embroidery, or you can buy really cute ones for your embroidery needles. This one will do a relatively small hole, but not, there are needles with smaller. So this one has a little tiny notch in it that the thread lays over, and then you just gently pull it back through the eye and you're threaded. So those work fairly easily and are nice. I'm going to unthread again. There's ones with wires. These little flat ones are super inexpensive. And then Clover makes one that has a thinner wire and a thicker wire, a double needle threader. So this one, you've got to thread the wire through the needle, and that's why I still need my glasses on. So you'd think I could see that to thread it. Okay, so now I've got the wire through the needle. On these wire ones, sometimes the wire can get a little bent or whatever. I find if I fold my thread that it's easier for me to thread it through the wire than if it's just a raw end. And that'll go through. Did I go through? So you're still having to thread a little bit. You can see I'm struggling just a tad with that. Okay, now I got it through. No, I did not. So there's still a threading aspect. Okay, now I've got it through, and now I've got it through the wire. I just pull it back through. So it's threaded. Okay, so you can see the wire, you've got to kind of get it through the needle and thread it through the wire. The little pull through, you just have to lay it on top. And I'm going to show you here the desk needle threader. These ones, you just put the eye of the needle down and you lay your thread through it. And then just gently, you don't need to do this fast, push down on the lever, lift your needle out, and you're threaded. Now, this is the Clover Sew line, who makes a very nice line of marking products. They make two different needle threaders, one for small needles, one for large needles. And they're kind of nice. These will close up for if you're carrying in your carrying case. Everything is, all the working parts are protected, and then you can open it back up. This one, once you put the needle in, I'm gonna use the bigger threader on this. Once you put the needle in, on this one, you want to give the threader, before you put the thread in, a couple of presses, and that will line the hole of the needle up. Then I'm just laying the thread over. Takes a little coordination. And again, just slowly pressing the button, and I am threaded. So real simple. Now, I did grab a needle out that has an even smaller eye. Well, it's a super tiny, can you see it? It's a super tiny little eye. And sometimes when you have a needle like this, these little ones that lay through, it is physically impossible. It will not fit. And you really can't get the wire through these either, these tiny ones. It's too small. The hole is too small. But the automatic threaders still do a nice job with these really small eyes. So I'm laying it through, gentle push, and I'm threaded. And again, this needle's pretty small, so I'm going to use sew lines. I shouldn't have set that down. I'm going to use their smaller one. Again, giving it one press or two to get the eye lined up with it. Put it in and thread that little tiny eye. Now, something to consider as you're doing this is that if you find when you're trying to thread it that you absolutely can't get the thread through the eye with a threader, or the thread is shredding as you're trying to thread it, you either are going to need a thinner thread or a bigger eye on your needle. There is a limit to what size thread you can put through an eye of a needle. So if you have embroidery floss, you're going to want a nice heavy threader for floss or pearl cotton, and then smaller threaders for smaller needles. So I hope that will help you get your hand needles threaded. And now that I've got a needle threaded, I thought I'd give you one more little tip today. And that is how to tie a really nice, neat, tidy knot at the end of your thread. Now, I often will see people wrap the thread around their finger and roll it off. And this is often what they get. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. This kind of messy, big knot. So what I like to do, and I'm right-handed, if you're left-handed, you're going to work the opposite, but I take the end of my thread in my right hand and my needle, this is the pointy part here, and I lay them right on top of each other. Then with my left hand, I hold the thread and the needle, and then I'll wrap it around. If I want a bigger knot, I might wrap it 4 times. If I just want a tiny knot, 2 or 3 times. I don't know, Carol, can you see that? Okay. So then I tip the needle point up and I pull on the thread until that wrapped thread is between my 2 fingers. Then I just grab the needle, gently pull it through, and I have this beautiful little tiny neat knot that won't make a big bulge in your quilt or your embroidery or your hand applique. So that is my favorite way to make a nice neat little knot. These are my favorite tools for threading needles. I hate to say it, but I own every one of these because sometimes you need multiple tools to get the job done. So if you have any questions about getting your needles threaded, just give us a call here at Fabric Garden, 916-483-2955, and we look forward to seeing you in the shop. Thank you.